welcome back. This is Power Breakfast on Citizen TV. Thank you so much for staying with us. And of course, we can never get too much inspiration. I don't think that's an actual thing. So we have a guest who's going to tell us about his very inspirational journey. He's an ex-British soldier, former football star, an amputee, and now a motivational speaker, David Italia. Thank you so much for being with us on Power Breakfast.
Thank you for having me.
You have a very, very inspirational story, and we're going to go through it. So let's start at the beginning. Maybe you can tell us a little bit about your upbringing, where you were born, where you grew up.
Yeah, I was born in Huruma, and then my dad was a construction worker, and then we moved to Maringo Estate. That's in the Eastlands, and then that's where I went to a school called Dr. Kraft, and there is where I started playing my football at a very young age. Yes.
That became a big passion of yours, football.
Yes. Yes.
Maybe you can tell us about your football days, which teams you played for, etc.
I started my football career with a team in Kabete called Waterworks. And then from there I moved to Kangemi United. And then from Kangemi United I moved to Kenya Commercial Bank.
Wow.
And then from the Kenya Commercial Bank I was signed by Tusker Football Club. Yes.
And what was your dreams at that point when you're playing football? Did you want to do that professionally as a career, or what was the end goal there?
Everyone who plays football, they want to be a professional footballer, but it's a harsh reality that not everyone will be a professional footballer. Yes.
Yeah. So you moved to the UK at some point.
Yes.
What was the purpose of you moving?
My purpose for moving to the UK was because of the kind of living that we were living down here as footballers. Because as you're aware, during that time we were not getting paid money that could actually make you have a good life. So that was one of the main reasons. That was the biggest main reason why I left Kenya. Yes. And
what was your experience like? I mean, you get there. What are the realities that are hitting you once you move to the UK and you still have dreams of playing football?
The reality is you'll get lonely. That's one. And the reality is, because I went to the UK to join specifically the British Army, I didn't go there to play football because my visa was supposed to join the army, not to play football anymore.
I see.
Yeah.
And where did that idea to join the army come from? Where was that? Was there someone who encouraged you to do that? Was that just an idea you had for yourself?
Yes, there's someone who encouraged me to do it. His name is George. He found me because I used to be a matatu driver as well during part-time.
Wow.
So with the route for Westlands Kangemi. So this guy approached me and he told me one of his cousins joined the British Army applying online. And the reason why this was happening is because the British colonized Kenya. Any country that was colonized by the British, what they did was actually give them access to be joining the British Army. And I was one of the fortunate ones that when I went and applied online, within a week I was accepted.
Wow.
Yes.
Yeah. So now your whole life has changed.
Yes, completely.
You've moved, different country, you're in the British Army. What was the experience like generally?
The experience at first wasn't the way I expected it to be. I thought joining the British Army, when you look at the adverts, you think it's going to be something amazing. You never think that you're going to go to a war zone or going to face challenges that the army brings on the table. So my expectations were very low. I didn't expect myself to find myself in a hostile environment.
Yeah, but you did. You had some tours in Afghanistan, is that correct?
Yes.
And that's where you sustained your injury.
Yes.
Maybe you can talk to us about that.
Yes, we went to Afghanistan in 2009, 2010. So we had the day before we went for the patrol, we had a meeting, and the meeting was about where you're going is not going to be a very good place. It was a very hostile place. So we went and had the meeting, went to our rooms, but during that night I was feeling very uneasy. So I woke up about 3 a.m, got my Bible and started reading my Bible. I couldn't go back to sleep up to about 6 a.m. in the morning when we were about to leave. So one of my friends who's been in the army for such a long time came up to me and said, David, did you ever think that you being a professional, like a footballer in Kenya, playing for Kenya Commercial Bank and Tusker Football Club, that you'd find yourself in a war zone? And I said to him, I never thought of that. But he was trying to calm me down because he could see the way I was panicking. Because, you know, every day you don't know, once you leave the gate, you don't know whether you're going to come back in a body bag, or once you leave the gate, you don't know if you're going to sustain life-changing injuries. So eventually we left, went for the patrol, and the whole day was pretty quiet until about 6:30 in the evening, where we got attacked by the Taliban, and the firefight was about for 2 hours, until when we got an air support from the Americans. And once we got that, we had to extract. So about 50 meters after from where we were, I actually drove over an IED, so the bomb, and I can't remember anything else from there. I just found myself in hospital in the UK. Yeah.
Wow. You know, your recovery process must have taken quite a while, but maybe you can just talk to us about that experience of waking up in the hospital, like you said, not really knowing what had happened to you or how you know, extreme your injuries were. What was going through your mind?
When I woke up, I still thought that I was in the war zone, because I was fighting with the nurses. That was the first thing that I was doing, until when they calmed me down and told me I'm not in the war zone anymore, I'm injured, because I couldn't remember what happened. But I could only remember the pain and needles that I was feeling on my body. That's when I realized that I was badly injured. Yeah.
And at that point you realized that you were going to lose your leg. I mean, was that information that they shared with you right away?
It took them 8 years. So I had surgeries after surgery, about 8 to 12 surgeries. They were trying to save my leg as much as they can. But eventually they couldn't save it. In 2016, 28th of January, they just told me, we have to get rid of your leg, because your leg is infected badly and you're going to have a bad life. So it was a situation that I had to make really quick for me to have a better life. Yeah. Yeah.
And you said eight years of just having surgery after surgery after surgery. Did you still have hope at that point of, you know, I'm going to make it out of this? Was there any, I mean, I'm sure at some point you were kind of just tired of hospital life and surgeries.
During that time I was suffering from something called war post-traumatic stress disorder. And war post-traumatic stress disorder is a very weird disease, whereby I was dreaming that at times I'm in the war zone when I'm sleeping at night. And as that developed, I nearly took my life twice because of the state the way I was. I felt I was a burden to the society, a burden to the community, and at the same time I was still struggling with my leg. So it was very, very challenging when I was going through that process of trying to heal, because now I was seeing the psychiatrist, I'm seeing the specialists, I'm trying to see how I'm going to get my prosthetic leg. So it was really tough. I'm
sure you're on medication also at the same time. So all of this is going on. I mean, were there any thoughts of, did you regret your decisions? Any of the decisions that you'd made up to that point? Because like you're saying, you went to the UK for a better life, right? So was there any regret happening there?
At first I had regrets. Why I went, and what was I doing, and what made me join the British Army. Because the way I went and joined, it was not the way I expected it to be. But again, I sat down one day and I said to myself, I don't regret, because each and every journey that we make in life, it's planned by God. You can never know where you're going to be tomorrow. So I stopped regretting, and I started looking what's good in front of me instead of looking what's behind me. Because what's behind me is gone. So that's how I just started getting positive every single day.
And changing your perspective. Now you're also a father.
Yes.
Right? You have 2 children, is it?
Yes.
So what has been the experience like showing them to be fighters throughout your journey? And is that something that you were fighting for during those years before you lost your leg?
The person who actually changed my life is my daughter, because my daughter walked up to the room one day and she said to me, Dad, you know what, even if you have one leg, I'll still love you as my dad. I still see you the same. And that statement was very strong to me, especially coming from a girl who was 7 years old at that time. And that made me think so many things. I was thinking, if she's saying that, why do I have to put myself down? Why do I have to feel sorry for myself? And from then I just changed my attitude towards everything, looked at things in a positive way, and I found my life becoming much easier when I started doing that.
You're now a motivational speaker.
Yes.
And you were telling me off camera about some of the work. You're here in Kenya on holiday, but some of the work that you're going to be doing. Maybe you can just share with our viewers some of the work that you're going to be doing with young soccer players.
Yes. So, for example, I've been invited by one of the longest-serving Harambee Stars captain, Musa Otieno, to go to his project and at least speak to the young kids and tell them about the challenges and tell them about how to motivate them to be better people tomorrow. Because as you know that this life, so many people are going through so many different things, but they don't have the voice to speak it out. So I thought to myself that if I have the voice to speak out, there are some people who are going to come out and speak about what they're going through. But one thing that I realized is about, in life you've got to love yourself first before you accept anyone else to love you. And don't ever get yourself in a situation whereby there are challenges and you want people to feel sorry for you, or you want people to feel sympathy for you. Because once you let that in, that's negativity that's going to creep into you. So you won't move forward with your life. So it's always good, like for me, the projects that I'm going to do, those are the kind of things that I'm going to be encouraging the young people who are my same age group and even my friends.
Yeah. I know that you use social media also to share your motivational messages. Maybe you can talk about how that experience has been and what the response has been like for you sharing, you know, quotes or whatever it is that you do on your social media.
Yes, so my social media, like my Instagram and my Facebook, I use both of them as platforms to raise my voice and tell people every single day not to ever give up in life. Because even the greatest people in this world, they pass through challenges. Even if you're pushed against the ropes, you have to get away from that situation, no matter what. Don't ever give up, because you only get one life. So like on my Instagram, I've got so many good responses. On my inbox, I receive over 60 messages a day.
Wow.
On my Facebook, I receive almost about 80 messages a day.
Do you answer them?
It's difficult for me to answer them all. It's very difficult. But I try and put something on my wall that can relate to everyone who send me messages. And this is because I like doing it. I enjoy what I'm doing now, because I believe that's where my journey is. And there's no better feeling in life like if you're trying to encourage someone and they come up from a different situation or a difficult situation, that's the best feeling that you can ever get.
Right. Social media, speaking of your social media and how you use it to motivate, it's kind of one of those double-edged swords. We're seeing a lot of young people slipping into depression and, you know, all types of negativity based on not getting the approval that they need from their peers on social media. It's an addiction to some people. So how do you talk to that person who's, yes, on your social media and trying to get that motivation, but also in their own personal life, suffering from, you know, lack of attention or maybe not enough love in their life? How do you kind of speak to that person?
If it gets to that point, like I've made a few phone calls to people who said I give them a call. Like they send me messages inside on my Instagram inbox or my Facebook. And I tend to pick the ones that I see that these people, they need just a voice to listen on the other side of the phone. So like when I'm in the UK, I receive these messages, I call them and I speak to them. It doesn't matter how much I spend me calling them, but I feel good when someone hears my voice and I tell them about the experiences, I tell them about how to look, how to think about life in a positive way. And you find the response that I get, like a few people who've come up to me, they've changed their lives drastically just because of me sharing that I nearly took my life twice. Because people always forget that we're all human beings. We face so many different challenges, but when you face those challenges, don't ever let them put you down in life, because you're the only one who can make yourself to be a better person tomorrow, not anyone else.
What has, you know, looking back on your life and everything you've been through, what has kept you going the most throughout all the challenges, throughout, you know, the depression and the hospital stays and all that? Like, what would you attribute that to, first and foremost?
I would put that down to my daughter Ashley, because if she didn't ever make that statement that she made to me the day that I was having a rough patch, I don't think I would have got out of that situation. Because I looked at that statement in the sense of I had two parents who looked after me up to the point whereby I could live on my own. And I thought to myself, this is a young girl that has just said that to me, 7 years old. What reason do I have? So that was the biggest motivation for me, to make sure that I live my life in a positive way. Yes, I have a prosthetic leg, but it's part of me now. This is my leg, you know. So I have two legs. I don't classify myself as a disabled. Yeah.
Right. Very, very definitely inspirational. And as you're talking, I'm just thinking about all of the things that we go through on a daily basis and complain about, because that's human nature. We love to complain when things are going wrong, and there might not even be things that are that drastic, but how do we remove that negativity from our life? How do we stop making that our nature, to just get up and complain about everything? What should we be doing instead?
I think when you're facing challenges, your mind will try and play with you so many tricks, which I can't blame anyone. That's why people are different. There's some who are quite good at keeping things to themselves until when everything explodes, and there's some who are quite good of speaking about them immediately. And you tend to find the people who speak about their problems to the right people, they end up healing quite fast than the person who's not speaking about them. To the right people, I like that you emphasize that. Yes. Yeah. When I say to the right people, I mean, like for example, my problem with my war post-traumatic stress disorder, I was only speaking about it to my psychiatrist. So if people are facing these challenges, they should go to professional people who are qualified to do these jobs. They can help them. And if you find yourself you're in a shell, try and remember a few words. Just try and remember that you've only got one life, and you can't waste it, because once you look back at your life and you lean onto it, you'll never progress in life. Right. So stay forward thinking and forward moving. Yes. Thank you so much, David. Can you share your social media handles with us for people who are just looking to get that daily bit of motivation? It seems that you found your calling, or you know, a new phase in your life, and you're very positive about everything, so we appreciate that. But maybe just share where it is that people can get a hold of you. People can get a hold of me on my Instagram page, which is Dave_Etale, which is Echo Tango Alpha Lima Echo. Okay, military man. Yes, because people find it a bit hard to pronounce Etale. Right. And my Facebook page is David Etale, same as my Twitter handle as well. Okay. Thank you so much, David. I wish you well with all the work that you're doing while you're here, and we appreciate you stopping by Power Breakfast to motivate us this morning. Of course, do stay tuned. We've still got the Man Cave coming up with Willis Rabur before the end of this show. We're going to take a short break. We'll be right back.